to that comfortable place on your mat, allowing the body to be nice and still here. And just being aware of any of the sensations that are coming up in your body. So maybe just sitting still feels like the first time you've had a chance to rest, to be quiet today. Maybe you're noticing the breath is a little fast, or maybe you feel a little lethargic. Maybe you're just noticing emotions or thoughts racing through your brain. But try not to have any judgment here, just trying to be with where you are. And eventually bringing some awareness to the breath. Again, just acknowledging it how it is, witnessing the breath, trying not to judge it. And eventually trying to find those deep inhales and deep exhales. If it feels comfortable for you to take a Ujjayi breath, maybe you begin to close the lips, inhaling through the nose, and exhaling through the nose, lips stay sealed together. Maybe eventually lengthening out your inhale and your exhale. And we'll let this breath serve as an anchor throughout class. So as we move through the various postures, even if you're taking a more challenging shape, just make sure that you're still breathing. You're still staying with a steady breath, and you're not holding your breath in poses that might feel challenging to you. So the theme that I'm thinking about this evening, and it builds a little bit on what we spoke about 2 weeks ago, is just the idea that I think a lot of us are faced with hard work right now. Hard work in navigating COVID, hard work in navigating all that's happening kind of politically and socially in our world right now. And just knowing that you need to be gentle with yourself as you're going through these challenging times. So that means taking a break from social media, or feeling like you're not ready for quarantine to end and you're not ready to go out out into social spaces, just allowing that. And I think that for me, I feel like I always need to be ready to do everything, and I need to be at terms with everything. And just being gentle with myself can be a bit of a challenge. So that's my kind of prompt for you tonight, is to think of ways in which you can be more gentle with yourself. As we work towards our peak poses of flip dog and wheel, not feeling like you need to push your body into those shapes, but just allowing your body to move, seeing where it goes, and being comfortable with that. So with our next round of breath, we can begin to open the eyes, making some gentle movements into the hips, and we begin to rock forward. So currently my left leg is forward. I'm gently stretching out the left hip. The forearms can come down to the earth. Maybe the head drops if that feels comfortable. With your next round of breath, begin to come back up. And then switching out the legs, whatever leg you had in front, the opposite one now comes to that place. And then walking your hands out in front of you again. This time, since my right leg is forward, I feel this in the right hip. I begin to gaze down, seeing if I can let the low back release just a little bit more. And with your next round of breath, beginning to come back up. And we'll begin to make our way into the hips. So make your way into tabletop. Take your time to get there. And we'll take some gentle hip circles before we move through some more full body stretches. So allow the right knee to hover up off the earth. Bring the right knee behind the right wrist. And we're going to take 4 of these circles in a clockwise direction. So that's 3, Last one. And then moving that in the opposite direction. So this time coming counterclockwise. So back and then out. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. We'll take that on the other side. So just let that right knee rest in the earth, and then we'll hover the left leg up. Left leg, we're going to take this in a counterclockwise direction first for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Opposite direction. Going clockwise for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. And then shift back, find child's pose. So I kind of often skip child's pose. I think I'm just ready to get to the movement. But as I'm moving through this week, as I'm working through some kind of uncomfortable moments in my life, just knowing that it's okay to rest. So hopefully this encourages you to rest as well. If you're doing hard work, if you're trying to make progress, giving yourself time to be at peace. 2 more breaths here. And as you're ready, you can let your body come back into that tabletop shape, and we'll move through cat-cow. So the belly can be nice and soft. You can let the chest shine through the arms, gaze high. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, press the ground away, gaze back towards the rear of the body. And then allow that belly to soften again, gaze nice and high, chin up. Exhale, angry cat. One more round on your own breath. And then from here, returning to a neutral spine, you can tuck your toes under and then lift the hips high, finding your first downward facing dog of the day. So pedaling through the heels here. Just take your time, let the body open up. So if you've been sitting a lot or feeling really tense, the legs might feel extra tight. 2 more breaths. Really spread the fingers wide. And then coming into your upside down V shape. We'll inhale, shift forward, finding our plank pose. So trying to let the hips sink so they're in line with the shoulders. Press a little bit into the feet. So instead of coming all the way onto the tip toes, come onto the ball of the feet. Send the heels towards the back of the mat. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Lift the hips up. Let the head come back. Maybe shake the head, yes. Shake it, no. Beautiful. Inhale, shift forward. High plank 1 more time. If you feel like you need to drop the knees, you can. Otherwise, we're here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Downward facing dog. So since we're going to be moving into the hips a lot, and we're going to be practicing some opening of the chest as well, I want to just start with lifting our right leg high. Once you lift that right leg high, bend the knees. See if the left heel can come closer down to the earth. And then keep your shoulders square to the mat. 1 more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Release that right leg down, opposite side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Right heel comes close to the earth. Square the shoulders. 1 more breath. Bring that foot down to the earth. Great. And just walk forward nice and slow. So once you come to the top of the mat, we're going to begin to take some extra twists here. So maybe you have a block in front of your face. If so, you can plant your left hand there. If your left hand easily reaches the earth, that's okay, but a prop is a great choice. So left hand down, bend into the left knee, right hand comes high, right arm reaches high. Take 2 more breaths here. Release that back down to the earth, and we'll switch that out. Again, use the block in front of the feet if that's helpful. Right hand comes down, left hand to hip. Bend into the right knee. Maybe left arm reaches high, 2 more breaths. As you rate, everything releases back down. From here, we'll inhale, bring the hands back to our hips, and then find a nice flat back. So this has been helpful to me kind of finding where I need to have my chest. I think oftentimes we want to be like higher or lower, but if you have your hands back by your hips, you're kind of in that same line. One more breath here, a little more weight into the toes. Exhale, hold down. Last round, inhale. Halfway lift, you can bring the hands back. If you like the hands on the knees, also a nice option. Gaze forward, shift the weight a little bit forward, open the hamstrings. Exhale, hold down. Ground down to good feet, reach up, rise up. Hands come back to heart center. Move through classical sun salutation. So inhale, arms reach high. Exhale, hinge, fold all the way down. Inhale, lengthen the spine, gaze forward. Exhale, plant the hands, step your right foot back. Drop your right knee on top of your toes. Inhale, arms reach high. So we'll be here for 3 breaths, a few options. Hands can stay on the hips. They can come to the left knee, or maybe you reach them high, perhaps even touching them overhead. So I know that's what I've been working on, trying to open up the front of my hip flexors, be gazing up at the thumbs. Exhale, release the hands back down, step to high plank. Knees, chest, and chin, Bhujangasana, baby cobra. Squeeze the elbows towards the body. Exhale, release back down. Tuck the toes, lift the hips high. Inhale, right leg reaches. Bend the knees, step the right foot forward. Left knee softens, toes untucked. Inhale, arms reach, or any of those other variations. Again, if you're taking that advanced option with hands tucking or hands touching overhead, make sure that you don't feel pain in the low back. If so, I would recommend hands a little bit wider. One more breath. Frame out your front foot, left foot steps forward. Inhale, long spine, gaze forward. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Round down through the feet, reach up, palms together, hands to heart. Left side, variation here. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, plant the hands. Left foot steps back. Drop the knee on top of the toes. We're going to take a nice kind of hip opener here by pressing our right knee away from us. If it's available for you, roll onto the right side blade of that foot. If that doesn't feel safe in your ankle, just stay here, and maybe it feels okay to reach back. So this is a different option, but if you don't have a lot of ankle mobility, this might feel like a better choice, opening up the chest and shoulder. You could also throw in a quad stretch and grab onto the foot. Pick your poison, any of those options. We'll take another 2 breaths so you have time to find the stretch. You grab onto the foot gently, release it down, and we'll step back to high plank. Knees, chest, and chin to the mat. Take your cobra. Exhale, hips come high. Inhale, left leg lifts. Bend the left knee, quietly step it through. Right knee down, toes untucked. Same choices here to find that hip opener. You can plant the right hand and press the left knee away from you, rolling onto the outside of that left foot. If that doesn't feel safe in the ankle, maybe you reach back. Maybe you take a quad stretch. So this is a deeper option usually. You might combine a little bit of that ankle roll. So just listen to your body. You don't want to feel any pain here. 2 more breaths. Release a bit if you grabbed it. We'll let the hands come to the front of the mat. We'll step our back foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold in. Root to rise. Hands return to heart center. So coming into sun salutations in A. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. Draw in the breath, gaze forward. Release the breath, plant the hands, step to high plank. You can stick with knees, chest, chin, or go high plank down to low with your exhale. Inhale, find your back bend. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll be here for 3 breaths, so let your head be nice and heavy. Maybe put a little more weight into the hands, every knuckle pressing into the mat, and send the heels away from you. With your next breath, come forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold down. Press down through your feet, reach up with the hands. Hands come back to heart center. Another one just like that. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, hinge, fold. Long spine, gaze forward. Plant the hands. Optional vinyasa, you can always just move right to down dog. Keep breathing. Urdhva Mukha into Adho Mukha. We'll take 4 breaths. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Gaze forward, come to the top of your mat. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, fold more. Round down, reach up. Hands come back to heart. We're gonna take one last set, and maybe you close your eyes if that feels like a nice choice. Otherwise, eyes stay open, move with your own breath. Nice long spine, optional vinyasa or knees, chest, chin. This time, staying here for 5 breaths. So building our endurance, we're extending these holds in down dog, just to build that strength in our arms, as well as strength in the core. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Maybe bend the knees, step or float forward. Inhale, nice long spine. Exhale, deeper fold. Root to rise. Palms come to touch, hands come to heart. Moving into sun salutations in B. So option to find a wider stance or remain with big toes touching. Your choice. Inhale, find your chair. So thinking a moment about where we're in this posture, we're not sticking our bottom out really far and sending the chest forward. We're kind of sending the tailbone underneath the body and drawing the navel in and up like you're zipping up a jacket. That's always the hardest part, is not just like popping out the chest too far. Right? Maybe gaze between the hands, maybe hands touch overhead. One more inhale. Exhale, fold down, release that. Inhale, gaze forward, optional vinyasa here. If it's not too hot in your room, maybe you take it. And once you're in your down dog, we're gonna step our right foot forward, coming to warrior 1. First time tonight, deep bend in the right knee. Left toes point to the top, the left corner of your mat. A little deeper bend there. As you're ready, hands come back down. Frame out the foot, optional vinyasa. Left foot steps, right heel spirals down. arms reach high. If you need to wiggle your left foot a little more forward, feel free. Bring the hands back down, Chaturanga Dandasana. We'll hold for 3 breaths. 3, 2, and 1. Come to the top. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find that chair. Squeeze thighs and knees. Nice proud chest. Exhale, stand tall. One more, a little faster. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fold down. Inhale, long spine. Optional vinyasa. Knees, chest, chin might feel better now if we're tired. Right leg forward. Warrior 1. Arms reach. Arms come back down. Exhale, vinyasa. Left foot forward, arms go high. Exhale, into the vinyasa. Staying here this time for 4 breaths. Drop your knees if you need to. Otherwise, focus on the breath. And 3, 2, and 1. Maybe bend the knees, step or pop to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hinge, fold down. Inhale, find your chair. Last one. Nice and deep. Exhale, stand tall. Hands come to chest. All right, take a moment, wipe sweat, drink water. As you're ready, we'll meet at the top of our mat, coming into some forward folds. My cat has returned. I guess she ate dinner. All right. And we're gonna go right into yogi toe lock. So I like my hips and my feet about the same distance apart. Sometimes people prefer even a little bit wider, which is okay. The deeper you need to fold, maybe the wider your feet are gonna be apart. So if you have tight hamstrings, that's a good choice. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold down. Wrap the peace and fingers around the big toes. You have a deep bend in the knees so the chest comes to rest on the thighs, and then let the head fall forward. Trying to straighten the knees slightly, a little more weight into the balls of the feet. One last breath as you are. I would keep the hands on the feet and the gaze forward. I feel like I find a nice stretch in the back body here. So I feel like this is kind of like stretching out the muscles you use when you drive or type. Exhale, release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. And this time we're gonna go right into gorilla, hands all the way underneath the feet. So Padahastasana. I can turn to the side if that's helpful. A little different angles. So you see my deep knee bend to start. And then straightening my legs over time, working on getting my head between the knees. Take one more breath. Inhale, gaze forward, hands can stay under the feet. Find that stretch in the back body. Ooh, really deep stretch in the calves there too. Okay, release that. Take a halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. And we're gonna just go into some more hip stretches because I feel like we can never have too many. We're gonna take seated figure 4. We're gonna take pigeon later, so if you're worried about pigeon, it's coming, I promise. But I just wanted to make sure we got seated figure 4 in first. It's a nice time to do it. So From here, just make sure that right leg is crossed over the left. Actively flex through the right foot. The closer you walk your hands into your seat, the deeper this is, the closer that foot comes in. If this doesn't feel comfortable in your body, you could always take it a supine option, rolling down onto the back, and then grabbing for the calf or the shin. But I prefer the seated choice. I think if I have my foot pressing into the earth, I can get a little more traction. We'll take another 2 breaths here. And then from here, you're gonna release the leg out. Allow that left foot to come over to the left side. So mine comes off my mat. So to me, this looks like how cheerleaders sit. I don't know if you guys had the same high school experience I did, but I think it's actually called deer pose. So we'll just go with that. And then from here, we can walk our body over. Woo, I can already feel that in my left hip, over towards the right side. So you're gonna find where you feel that tension in your hip. Press your knees down into the earth. Press your heels down into the earth. You might not be able to come down to your forearms, that's okay. You're up on your hands, no problem. Walk to your deepest place. The stretch should be in the outside of the left hip. 2 more breaths here. And then with your next breath, maybe you take your left hand and place it on top of your right hand, stretching out the left side body. 1 more breath, deepest place, and then release, begin to come back up. So hopefully you got a hip stretch and a side body stretch at the end. Right, from here, we're gonna take that figure 4 on the opposite side. This time, right heel plants, left foot crosses over. Maybe you find a little asymmetry. Ooh, tight hip. All right, you can walk that right foot in if it's available, but just to your comfort level. Again, flex through the left toes. We'll find 3 breaths. If the supine or lying down version is more comfortable, definitely go there. Last breath in this shape. And then we'll begin to release our hips over, our knees over to the left side. So, you can probably see my legs a little bit better now. I have my legs kind of at this 90-degree angle. My right foot is off the mat, and I'm gonna begin to twist my body over to the right, feeling a stretch here through my right hip. Walk yourself as far down as you're able, maybe the forearms, maybe the hands. We'll take 3 breaths, press the knees and heels into the earth. With your next round of breath, walk the right hand over on top of the left hand. This should bring the stretch to your right side body into the intercostal muscles between the ribs. 1 breath. And begin to unwind. Great, delightful. Cross your legs in front of you, and we'll make our way into a down dog shape. If you have some magical transition, feel free to take it. But for me, I just sort of like wiggle my feet back until I'm in a down dog. If you'd like to take a vinyasa here, feel free, be my guest. You don't have to, I'll just find my breath. So inhaling and exhaling. 1 more round of breath. Beautiful. With your next round of breath, lift the right leg high. Bend the right knee, step the right foot behind the right wrist. Warrior 1, we've been here before. So bending deeply into that right knee, inhale, arms reach high. Maybe the hands can touch overhead this time. Just feel the stretch into your left Achilles and your left calf muscle. 1 more round of breath. Straighten through the right leg, turn the shoulders over to the left side. We're gonna set up for triangle pose with a slightly different stance. So So usually the left foot is parallel to the edge of the mat. But right now it's angled in, and that's okay. I think it's easier on the hips and lets you go a little deeper in your triangle. So arms come out to a T, stretch forward, come into your Trikonasana. Use the block to the inside of the foot if that feels helpful. You can always float your hands up off the earth for more core engagement. 2 more breaths. With your next breath, begin to come back up. We're going to step up for revolve triangle. So begin to bring your hips and your shoulders to square forward. Sometimes people like to step that back foot in. If you think you can do it without, don't do that. Because I prefer you to have a longer stance and get a better IT stretch. I like a block here. Let me grab that. And I'm going to put that in my left hand. Reach that forward. Easiest place is to the inside of the foot. Next hardest is in front of it. Hardest is to the outside of your right foot. Both legs are straight. Hand plants, that's my left hand down. Right hand to hip, or right arm can reach high. Drop this right hip back. Mine always wants to pop forward. Drop that hip back. Beautiful. 3 more reps. Hang in. Keep those legs as straight as you can, but don't lock out. Little micro bend in the knees might help. As you're ready, release your hands down to the earth, come into standing split. Left leg will lift behind you. Don't worry about squaring the hips, just lift it as high as feels okay. So you can point the toes, that might feel better. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. You can hang here, maybe grab opposite elbows. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold down. Optional vinyasa. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adho Mukha. And we'll take the sequence on the other side. Left leg reaches high. Bend the left knee. Quietly step the left foot behind the left wrist. Right heel spirals down. Warrior 1. See if you can come deeper than you did earlier in class. So sliding the heel farther forward, more of a parallel thigh to the mat. So usually we're up here in Warrior 1, so you can sink down. 2 more breaths. Next breath, left leg straightens, hips turn over to the right. So again, that foot is pointing into the front of the studio. The block might help here. Otherwise, come into your Trikonasana, reach forward, press that right shoulder back. Ease up the right thumb. 3 rounds of breath. Keep some weight in your back right foot. With your next breath, ground into the feet. Use your core to bring you back up. We'll set up for reversed triangle, revolve triangle rather. Shoulders and hips square forward. So I have to really remember to draw that left hip back. I'm gonna wiggle my right foot in. There we go, that's a little safer. Arm reaches with the right hand. The block could be in the right hand or a tissue box or a book. Your home prop of choice. Easiest is to the inside of our front foot. A little harder. Hello, Kitty. Is out in front of you. And then hardest still is to the outside of this foot. Great. Press that hip back. Reach the left hand high if that's available. Hold for 3, 2, keep breathing, and 1. All right, we're gonna go into our standing split. Again, no worries about squaring the hips. We're just trying to release. Maybe 1 hand or 2, grab the left heel or ankle. 3, 2, and 1. I almost fell out of that, guys. Would have been really bad. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hold down. All right, we'll take our time through a little vinyasa and move into our last standing sequence. With your next breath, lift your right leg high, fan the hip open. So we've done this before, but we're just kind of making sure that that hip feels nice and supple. And then stepping into warrior two, first time here tonight. So we have that right foot just in the center of the mat, the left heel parallel to the short edge of our mat. And then think about where your knee is. Can you see your big toe? If you can't, draw the knee a little more over to the right. 2 more breaths. Flip your right hand, radiate your warrior. Bend a little more into the right knee, 2 more breaths. Either side angle or extended side angle. Because we've been doing a lot of hip work, I'm encouraging you to take extended side angle. With the hand to the outside of the right foot, you can use the block if you need it, and then left arm reaches towards the front of the room. So your armpit is really kind of framing out your head here. Feels a little silly, I promise it's the right shape. 2 more breaths. Radiate your warrior. Right into radiant triangle. Right leg straightens. Reach even further back. 2 more breaths. As you're ready, we'll begin to come back up. But this time we're setting up for wide-legged forward fold, so I'm facing away from you. I'll try to be as loud as I can. Hands can come to the hips. If it feels better, maybe you interlace them behind the low back, your choice. And begin to hinge forward, pigeon toe the feet slightly. We'll be here for about 5 rounds of breath. If you feel like you can safely invert at home, which I know some of you have a really strong inversion practice, feel free to go there. If you've made your way upside down, begin to come back, and we'll begin to walk our hands forward in front of our face. Inhaling deeply, and then walking into our lizard lunge. Right toes turn forward and slide to the right side of the mat. We stay up on the ball of the back left foot. Hips can rock forward and back. And come into your deepest lizard shape. So maybe the left knee drops down, toes on top. Maybe you prefer a more active lizard, like a flying lizard, which I know we've worked on before. You can take that, strengthening through the core. But we'll take another 3 breaths here. All right, as you're ready, we'll begin to make our way back. So tuck your left toes behind you, lift that left leg high. And we'll take it on the other side. All right, left leg comes high. We'll step that through, finding our warrior two here. Cartwheel those hands open. Then into the left knee. Make sure you can still see that left big toe. We're taking external rotation, meaning the knee doesn't drop in, but rather we actively pull the knee towards the left side of the mat. Hips square over towards the long end. Radiate the warrior. Keep that bend in the left leg. 2 more breaths. And then as you're ready, coming into our side angle pose, I like to plant my hand to the outside of my left foot, reach my right arm forward. Again, a block is a really nice option here, but otherwise the knee is pressing into the arm behind it. Begin to radiate. Radiant warrior, just to transition, radiant triangle. 2 more breaths. Everything comes back up. Toes point over to the long side of the mat, wide-legged forward fold. Pick whatever you want to do with your arms. If you didn't take the shoulder stretch before, it might feel like a great choice, especially if you know you're prepping for real later on. Hinge forward on your exhale, and we'll take 5 breaths here. As you're ready, begin to come back up. We'll make our way into lizard lunge. So the left toes point forward, they wiggle a little bit out to the side. Come onto the ball of the right foot. And again, same options here. The knee can drop. You can take a flying lizard. If you want to work on arm balances, it's also a nice place to do so. Taking 1 more full breath. And as you're ready, moving any props out of the side, we'll just return to our down dog shape and coming right into our pigeon. So right leg lifts again, bend to the right knee so it comes behind the right wrist. Let the shin be as close to parallel as you can get it. And then just inchworm that left knee back, untuck the left toes, make sure they point straight back. I always like to kind of make sure I have a nice upright spine here, and then I'm not going to fall over onto my right hip if there's not a block under it. Eventually, beginning to melt your chest, melting your forehead closer to the earth. We'll take 8 breaths here. So if you set an intention for tonight's practice, maybe coming back to that here. If you're thinking about the idea of being patient with yourself as you're moving through challenging times, maybe kind of coming back to that concept. Just acknowledging that you're on a journey and maybe you're not making the progress you want to today, but you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Progress might be slow, but it is coming. With our next round of breath, we can begin to slowly make our way out of this shape, and then option to take flip dog here. I'll walk you through it a little more slowly than usual. So left toes tucked behind me, pressing into both hands, and then I lift my right leg high, bend the right knee, fan the hip open. Taking my right foot, I drop it midway up the mat. So flipping my body over. Both heels press down into the earth. Opening up the left shoulder, lift the hips high, maybe squeeze the glutes a little. So if you see that squeezing glute action, it really lifts my hips more. Right arm reaches back, gaze back at the right hand, 2 breaths. And as you're ready, release to your down dog shape. Maybe a vinyasa feels good. All right, last side here. Left leg lifts, bend the left knee, set up for half pigeon. Walk that right knee back. Untuck the toes. And then allow the chest to melt closer to the earth. About 8 rounds of breath, trying to stay with that focus, not letting the mind wander too far. Slowly beginning to return to an upright shape. Hands can ground down in front of you. You can tuck your right toes. And we'll begin to lift that left leg up, taking flip dog here. So don't feel like you have to take it. If you took it on the first side, maybe it feels okay. And I kick my cat. Great, left foot comes down. Roll over, both legs plant, opening through the right shoulder. Left arm falls back. Squeeze the glutes, press into the legs, lift the hips. 2 breaths. And as you're ready, releasing everything back down to down dog. Final option for a vinyasa here. You can step or hop forward. We'll come into a comfortable seat. All right, whew, geez. We'll just come right into Janu Shirashasana. I want to make sure we still have some time for bridge or wheel. So bending into the left leg, right leg comes nice and long, arms reach high, and then exhale, fold over the right leg. Maybe grab the calf, the ankle, the shin, anything that feels appropriate. Beginning to make your way back up, we're going to take a twisted variation of this shape. Bring your right hand to the outside of the left knee, gaze over the left shoulder, and then sweep that arm over just like you did in extended side angle. So the head comes into the armpit. You should feel the stretch to the low left back, into the side body. Press that left shoulder back, flex the right toes. One more inhale. Exhale, release, beautiful. We're gonna go into Janu on the other side, left leg long, right knee bent in. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, hinge full to your deepest. And then beginning to come back up, we'll take that twisted option. Left hand comes to the outside of the right knee. Beginning to gaze over the right shoulder. Right arm sweeps up and over. Oh my Lord, into that right hip, into that back body. I always feel like that's where my kidney likely is. Relax your left toes, 2 more breaths. So I could easily touch my left toe, but that's not what we're going for. We're pressing the right shoulder back, opening our chest to the sky. Begin to release. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna go right into back bends, and then after our back bends, we'll do our forward fold. So I know we're a little out of sequence of how I often do things. Making our way into bridge or wheel, your choice. I'm gonna demo 1 bridge and 1 wheel. If you want to do other things, feel free. All right. So making sure that our hands are reaching in the direction of our feet. But I like to not touch my feet. I can easily do so, but I like to step the feet away from me, giving me more room in my low back. If the feet are a little wider than the hips, that's okay. Press into the hands, press into the shoulders, lift the hips up. Press into the legs. A little bit of squeeze of the glutes is okay. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release back down. All right, so if you feel like you want to go into another bridge, be my guest. If you prefer to go right into wheel, feel free. If we're coming into wheel, I always like to come onto the crown of my head first, then walk the hands in, squeeze the elbows closer together, and press up. So take your time to slowly set up the shape. I promise it'll be worth it. All right, from here, heels press down, hands press down. Come to the crown of the head. Walk the hands back just a hair. Squeeze elbows so they're parallel. Press up. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Make your way all the way back up. We're just gonna do right into a forward fold. So if you prefer to have a bend in the knees, you can do that. Otherwise, just regular Paschimottanasana. Let the head be nice and heavy. One last breath here. Then we'll make our way into a reverse tabletop, just flushing out the hips and the shoulders. I love this for my shoulders, little crab soccer. Hips lift, head falls back, lion's breath here. Inhale, exhale. One more like that. Release the hips back down to the earth. We can begin to extend our legs out long and just taking some last closing shapes. We can let the knees come into the chest, giving them a gentle hug, maybe a little rock from side to side. Right. From here, you can take your left heel, plant it down, cross the right leg over, just like we did before, kind of like a seated figure four. But we're going to wiggle the left foot over to the left side, and then let that left knee fall down. This is going to stretch out the front of the left hip. So my right knee comes more out to the right. My left heel comes off the left side of the mat. Maybe gaze over the left shoulder. If you'd like to take cactus arms, you can do so. One more full round of breath here. Once you're ready, let everything come back. You're going to uncross the legs, release the right foot down to the earth. Inhale, lift the left leg up, cross it over the left, or the right knee rather. And then we'll wiggle the right foot off to the right side, and then let the right knee fall in just a little bit. So you're stretching out the front of the right hip. If that's not comfortable in your body, you can always just take a regular twist with the legs together. One more breath here. As you're ready, beginning to release out. Beautiful. So, options to take a cooling inversion or any other shape that you feel you need to pull out your practice. If you have a block nearby or you want to take legs like a wall, I really love that to close out my practice, especially because I've been having a lot of quarantine insomnia. So I think legs elevated helps just kind of calm the body down. But if you need something a little more active and you comfortably practice headstand, you can feel free to go there now. Otherwise, just finding a place where you can let the legs lift and then be there for about 10 rounds of breath. We're taking this supported shoulder stand. We want to make sure that the ankles, the knees, the hips are in the same line. So we're not moving the head or neck. You don't need to look at your camera or your phone. Maybe you even invite your eyes to close. taking one more round of breath wherever you are. And then just slowly making your way out. If you have taken a more active inversion, like a headstand, make sure that you take child's pose or any other counter poses you might need. And then from here, we'll just all begin to draw the knees into the chest, giving our bodies a nice little hug. A gentle rock from side to side, massaging out any remaining tension that you might be holding in the body. Then you can squeeze yourself into a tiny ball as you're ready. Let the head and shoulders lift up off the mat. Give yourself one last deep hug. Thank yourself for making your way onto the mat, making some time for self-care this evening. And then releasing out long, finding a traditional Shavasana shape, legs coming to the edges of the mat, hands falling down by the side body. Letting the shoulders roll back, letting the head feel fully supported by the earth below you. If this shape doesn't feel safe in your body, you can always take another option. I always like to press my heels into the earth just to let my low back release. So find what feels good to you. We'll spend our next few moments here in silence to find rest, to find peace, to let the practice sink in. And slowly beginning to make your way back. Allowing little movements to come into the body, filling out the fingers and toes. Maybe finding circles with the ankles and wrists. And then reaching the arms overhead, you can roll over to your favorite side. And then slowly beginning to make your way up to a comfortable seat, taking any shape that feels the most appropriate in your body. You can perhaps have the hands resting on the knees, Finding grounding, finding a firm foundation. It's challenging, it's often chaotic times. Maybe tonight has come to heart center, palms could perhaps face up, exactly. Allowing your heart to be open, allowing you to find acceptance. Returning to your intention if you set one. Maybe returning to that idea that the work is hard, but just knowing that you can continue on. Allowing yourself breaks, allowing yourself time to move slowly to progress as you're ready. With our next round of breath, hands will come together at the chest. We'll close out our practice with a single sound of Om, the sound of all living things. Inhale deeply. Exhale, sigh it out. Inhale for Om. With your next round of breath, you can allow the thumbs to come to the third eye center. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be free from suffering. May I be well. May I be at peace. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be free from suffering. May all beings be well. May all beings be at peace. I bow to you. Namaste.